Ever feel like you're in a constant battle with your own brain? You know the feeling. You've got this huge task, a mountain of studying to do, but your focus is just nowhere to be found. We've all been there. Well, today, we're going to tackle that problem head-on with a simple yet incredibly powerful technique designed to help you win the war against procrastination.
Seriously, think about it for a second. That giant project for work, the textbook chapter that's putting you to sleep, that one thing on your to-do list you've been avoiding for weeks. When you're staring up at a mountain, how in the world do you even start to climb? It's a question that really separates progress from just being stuck.
The secret here isn't some complicated life hack. It's actually about changing the way you look at the problem. Instead of trying to conquer that whole mountain in one go, you break it down into these small, manageable, super focused chunks. And that simple little shift in perspective, well, that's the core of one of the most effective productivity methods ever invented.
All right, so this whole strategy, it's got a name you've probably heard of, the Pomodoro Technique. It's a beautifully simple system designed to give you that little push of drive and discipline you need when you're facing down a huge challenge.
So what is it exactly? Well, the idea is so simple. It takes advantage of a basic truth about our brains. We have a limited attention span. And you know what? Instead of fighting against that, the Pomodoro Technique works with it. It uses these short, intense bursts of focus to build momentum without completely burning you out.
And you know, the story behind this is actually pretty cool and super down to earth. It was invented back in the early 90s by a university student named Francesco Cirillo, who was struggling with focus just like the rest of us. He grabbed a kitchen timer that was shaped like a tomato, Pomodoro is Italian for tomato, and that's it. The whole thing was born. This isn't some complex corporate system, it's a student's solution to a student's problem.
Okay, so you get the theory, right? It makes sense, but how does it actually work in practice? Let's break it all down. I'm going to walk you through your very first Pomodoro cycle, step by step.
First things first, pick one task, and I mean just one. Step 2, set a timer for 25 minutes. Third, and this is the most important part, you work with intense, absolute focus until that timer rings. No checking your phone, no opening new tabs, none of that. Fourth, when the timer goes off, you take a 5-minute break. And finally, after you've done 4 of these cycles, you've earned yourself a longer break, about 20 minutes. That simple loop is the engine of the entire system.
Now, listen up, because this part is absolutely crucial. That break, it is not optional, and it is not for checking social media. You have to actually get up, walk away from your desk, stretch your legs, grab some water. The whole point is to give your brain a real reset so you can come back to the next 25-minute sprint feeling totally refreshed and ready to go again.
Okay, so you've got the basics down pat, but we all know the real world is messy. It's full of distractions. So how do you protect those precious 25 minutes of focus? Let's get into some of the more advanced strategy.
This is the big one, isn't it? It's the question everyone asks. You're in the zone, you're making progress, and then bam, a coworker pops over. Your roommate asks a question. A notification goes off. It pulls you right out. Well, the Pomodoro Technique has a simple, really elegant way to handle this exact problem. It's a super simple 3-step process. Inform, negotiate, and call back. First, you politely inform the person, hey, I'm right in the middle of something. Second, you negotiate a time to reconnect. Can I find you in about 15 minutes? And third, as soon as your session is over, you call back. It's respectful, it sets clear boundaries, and most importantly, it keeps your focus right where it needs to be.
Of course, the best way to handle interruptions is to prevent them from happening in the first place. This is your proactive defense. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb or, even better, airplane mode. Close all those browser tabs that have nothing to do with your task. And here's a pro tip I absolutely love. Use a physical timer. An hourglass, a kitchen timer, whatever. It looks cool, and it removes that temptation to pick up your phone just to check the time.
Now, this is where the technique goes from being just good to truly great. You have to remember, the Pomodoro isn't a rigid prison. It's a flexible tool. The people who are most effective with it, they know when to use it, and they know when to adapt it.
That classic 25-minute work session with a 5-minute break, think of that as just a starting point. As you get more comfortable, feel free to experiment. Maybe a 35-minute sprint is your sweet spot. Or if you're really in a groove, you could try a 50-minute marathon session followed by a solid 10-minute break. The goal is to find the rhythm that works best for your brain and for the task at hand.
And this right here, this is the secret that separates the beginners from the masters. This technique is an absolute lifesaver for getting started on boring subjects or for chipping away at massive projects. But, and this is a huge but,
If you hit that magical creative flow state or you're deep into solving a complex problem, hearing an alarm go off can do more harm than good. In those moments, it's often best to just ignore the timer and keep riding that wave of productivity.
And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. This technique is incredibly powerful, but it's not magic. It doesn't do the work for you. It creates the perfect structure for you to be disciplined, but you still have to be the one to honor the timer and commit to that focused work. It's a framework for your willpower, not a replacement for it.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Think about that one thing you've been avoiding, the one that feels too big or too boring or too overwhelming. What if you just committed to a single 25-minute focused sprint on it right now? What could you accomplish? Your journey to beating procrastination for good can start with that one simple timer.